Will a new change push your numbers up or down? If you want to know whether a new prescription, lifestyle change, or supplement is pushing your blood pressure, glucose, or weight up or down, this widget gives you a disciplined way to answer it from your own records. The screen examples in this video use the 1-year mock data file included with the app by Werner Tools and Chris Werner, so the numbers shown here are a workflow demo, not a claim about your own treatment. In this sample, the walking block was mostly flat, psyllium husk looked modestly favorable but mixed, tamsulosin was associated with lower blood pressure and glucose, and metformin ER showed the strongest drop in both. The key point is not prediction. The app helps you compare before and after windows around a dated event so you can see direction instead of guessing. Set the begin and end descriptions first. To build that answer, you first choose the event descriptions that define each comparison block. The begin screenshot shows the drop-down list of dated starts and stops, such as no medications, walking, psyllium husk, tamsulosin, or metformin ER. The end screenshot shows the next milestone that closes the window. Each row becomes a before or after block with its own averages, trends, latest values, and any same range lab matches. That matters because a trend question only makes sense when the dates are anchored to a real change. Walking program, what changed? Now look at the lifestyle example, starting the 30-minute daily walking program. The before block averaged 140/79 for blood pressure, 141.9 milligrams per deciliter for glucose, and 245.7 pounds for weight. The after start block averaged 140/78, 139.8 milligrams per deciliter, and 245.8 pounds. That is basically flat for blood pressure and weight, with only a slight improvement in average glucose. The latest glucose in the block actually finished higher at 145.8, so the safest answer here is not dramatic improvement but a short window with mixed to mild change. Psyllium husk, help or hurt? For the supplement example, the new event is 5 grams daily of psyllium husk. Compared with the prior block, average blood pressure shifts from 140/78 to 139/81. Average glucose slides from 139.8 down to 137.3. Average weight moves from 245.8 to 245.4 pounds. So the supplement block looks modestly better for glucose and average weight, slightly better for systolic pressure, but worse for diastolic pressure. That is exactly the kind of mixed result where seeing all three numbers together prevents an oversimplified answer. Tamsulosin, what changed? The first prescription example is tamsulosin, 0.4 mg nightly. Compared with the psyllium block before it, average blood pressure improves from 139/81 to 136/79. Average glucose falls from 137.3 to 130.6 mg per deciliter. Average weight is essentially flat at 245.5 pounds. This block also includes one lab fasting glucose match, and the report labels the matched glucose reading -2.2% versus the lab, very close agreement. That does not prove tamsulosin caused the change, but it does make the glucose reading itself look credible for this date range. Metformin ER, strongest drop in the sample. Metformin ER, 500 mg nightly, is the strongest signal on screen. The block before metformin averaged 136/79 for blood pressure, 130.6 mg per deciliter for glucose, and 245.5 pounds for weight. The metformin block averages 130/76, 118.6 mg per deciliter, and 245.2 pounds. That is a clear downward shift in both blood pressure and glucose, with a smaller decline in weight. If you were asking whether this new prescription appears to decrease the tracked numbers in the sample file, this is the most convincing yes in the walkthrough. What this tracker can and cannot tell you. The important limitation is that this workflow shows association across date blocks, not proof of causation or a guarantee of what will happen next. The windows are different lengths, some have no lab values at all, and several treatments overlap. Walking, psyllium, tamsulosin, and metformin are stacked on top of one another here, so each new block inherits the context created by the earlier ones. That is why the right use case is personal review before appointments or private self-audit at home. It helps you answer, what changed after this start date in my data, without pretending the app can replace medical judgment or a formal study. About the app, privacy, and where to get it. Therapy Impact and Glucose Analyzer is by Werner Tools and Chris Werner. It is a Windows desktop application for personal tracking of blood pressure, glucose, weight, medications, and dated lab results. Privacy is straightforward because the workflow is built around local files on your computer, and the app does not upload your readings, reports, exports, or backups to cloud services. The full app can be obtained on Etsy for $9.95. Use the link shown on screen, etsy.com/listing/451-336-5729, or scan the QR code shown here.